Welcome to the Dojo Talk Podcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Zen Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes. Yeah.
Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Serial Sensei. We are on episode number 120. As always, you can listen to this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, please rate, subscribe, and leave a review. You can also check us out on Spotify, on social media. You can hit us up on the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter at Serial Sensei, and you can send questions to Dojo Talk Podcast at yahoo.com if you feel inclined to do so. Back again in the dojo, returning from his hiatus, where according to Joey, he was fighting mountain lions, but he was actually shooting Nerf guns and doing other fun stuff. Welcome back to the dojo, Theanticool. What's going on, man?
Did you know in 2013, Mace wanted to release an album called Now We Even, and his guest appearance list was Jay-Z, Diddy, Beyonce, Drake, 2 Chainz, Lauryn Hill, Meek Mill, Fabulous, Ariana Grande, Dipset, Seal, and CeeLo Green.
That might have been fire.
Did he want them to all work pro bono?
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, like 2 years ago, he released a diss track against Cameron.
Oh, did you not listen to that?
No.
Oh, he murdered Cam. People aren't going to give him his credit. He gave Cam the blues. I listened to that. I don't remember what it was called.
Wait, did we talk about this?
I feel like we did. I feel like this was definitely a random intro conversation we had.
Because it seems like something we would talk about.
Yeah, we did. I feel like we definitely talked about that. Yeah, Mace gave Cameron the blues. I don't remember what the name of the song was.
And then Cameron responded with like a track that sounded like he recorded it on like a flip phone.
Yeah, man. Murder Mace came back. He took off the pastor outfit. He got busy. But yeah, man.
All right, I'm off it.
We had a nice ramble before we started recording.
We've been here for like an hour.
Right.
You
you guys just check up on your favorite rappers. Like, you haven't heard from them in a while. Make sure they're actually like doing okay. You know.
Like, what do you think Consequence does in his day to day? Like, you think he just sits by the phone waiting for like Q-Tip to call him and be like, "Yo, we got a gig."
I mean, he had to have made a decent amount of money though. He's had to have been involved in like other people's careers, I would hope.
I mean, like, who would go to Consequence and be like, "Yo, I need to get into the rap game"?
I don't know.
It's like you said you put me on, put your cell phone in, man. Like,
I don't know. So somebody's calling Consequences line. Somebody's desperate enough.
I mean, I'm sure his mom is calling him.
He's got to be doing okay. If you were affiliated with Tribe, I gotta assume you. If you were smart with the money that you made.
You see, you already took it too far because you're assuming that he was smart with the money he made. I feel like Consequence is the type of dude who felt he was entitled to more. I mean, he was writing for Kanye, him and Ryan Fest, so
yeah, he should be set off that alone.
Yeah,
to be honest, because if you wrote for Kanye, especially if you wrote anything off of like College Dropout and those first couple albums, he should be good. But yeah, that was our random hip hop wormhole we went down before we started recording.
Hey, that used to be the start of every show.
Yeah. Shout out to Consequent. Shout out to Mike Jones. Shout out to Roy Jones Jr.
The greatest. athlete rapper.
Shouts to Roy Jones, and those were good times. Those were good times back then.
Now everything
guys-
sucks.
Yeah, it was so much fun back then. I mean, I guess it's I'm not gonna say it's fun now. Or maybe the kids are having fun. I don't know. I'm not a part of the young folk generation. You guys are probably having fun though.
The youth sickens me.
Oh man. We had that argument. You know what? I'm not gonna take that here. Had that argument at work about coworker tried to say that I'm the crack baby generation, so I said he's the lean baby generation.
Damn. Damn.
And now I'm realizing, like, why are we all drug babies? Why can't we just be better? Why do I have to be a crack baby? What do you call me, crack baby? I had to retaliate. Couldn't let that go. But, yeah. So that's how my week has been. But nah, man, glad to be back for another episode. I hope you guys are warm. Shout outs to the people in the Midwest. I saw some temperatures that like really disturbed me, that apparently you guys are either having right now or will be going to. A lot of those temperatures were in the negatives.
I saw like 7 to 11 inches of snow.
Yeah, it's not looking good. To get snow on top of it being like -5 degrees is kind of wild. So I hope you guys are safe, because that's like dangerously cold weather. There's like cold, and then there's like, that's kind of bad. So I hope you guys are safe out there in the Midwest. It's cold here in Maryland, but but we're not in the negatives. It's not that bad. The struggle isn't that real yet. But speaking of other places, top listens for the week. Number 1, San Francisco, California. Number 2, Brookville, Pennsylvania. Number 3, to London out in the UK. Number 4, Fontana, California. And coming in at number 5, we got Winthrop, Massachusetts. So appreciate you guys listening. Shout outs to everybody on Tumblr and the Twitter folk and wherever else you people may be when you choose to listen to this podcast. Always appreciate you guys. So we got some fights. There was actually
before we hop on into it, I want to say a special shout out to Joey for filling in my incredibly large shoes. He did an adequate job.
Adequate. Joey, I'll let you defend yourself the next time you're on here. See if you did adequate, or if you feel you deserved more. Shout outs to Joey. Shout outs to Stokes too. He's like our resident insider.
He's here in spirit.
Yeah, they're always here. They're like our roommates that don't show up to the house every day, but when they come, we let them open the fridge. It's no big deal. But so we got some fights to talk about. There were actually a lot of good fights, pretty much going on from Friday through the rest of the weekend. So we'll cover a little bit of one championship, a little bit of boxing. The main meat and potatoes of the episode will be Bellator 214. But before we get into that, as always, got to go through the news and notes for the week. So not a super busy week. Not really a ton of fights, but I wrote down a few that I thought were interesting or worth of note. I guess the biggest one that we've mentioned before, that it got canceled and now it's a thing again. We have a superhero fight that's going down. Yoel Romero, Paulo Costa is being targeted for the UFC on ESPN3 headliner on April 27th. So that's gonna be wild. I just imagine like when those two fight.
I mean, paint one of your He-Man dolls like black, and just like bang them together, and that'll be it.
Right. It's gonna be like when the Dragon Ball Z characters fight, and like they start trading hands, and like the craters just start forming. Like that's what's gonna happen. Somebody's not gonna make it out of that alive. But
Wake.
That That's going to be an awesome fight. So definitely looking forward to that one. Moving down the list, Marina Moroz will be welcoming Sabina Mazo to the UFC. That'll be on UFC on ESPN2. Sabina Mazo was LFA's flyweight champ. She head kicked a couple of people to oblivion, won a couple of one-sided decisions, and now she's in the UFC. So looking forward to that fight in her debut. At UFC Prague, we'll have Dwight Grant versus Cardo Pedasali Jr., and we will also have Veronica Macedo versus Jillian Robertson. At UFC 235, we'll have Song Yadong against Alejandro Perez. At UFC 234, a fight I was actually really looking forward to. Fortunately, had to change around. Ryan Spann has been injured. I'm not sure what the injury was, but he's injured. He was replaced with Sam Alvey, so we'll have Sam Alvey versus Jim Crute.
Yay!
230. I didn't want to say anything. I was God.
I mean, Christ. Sam Alvey fights are always worth the price of admission.
Jim Crute, do me proud.
Like Sam Alvey's that guy like who looks like they pulled him out the audience and he just somehow manages to stick around.
Right. just the definition of overachieving. But he's probably a good guy. I don't want to.
He seems like a great guy. Like
yeah, but his fights are just kind of.
Dude has to have the charisma of like a goddamn. Like I don't even know. Like he has to be charismatic. Like look at his wife. A Miss America Next Top Model or whatever.
Also, the best corner person in the game.
Yeah.
Like legit the best corner person in the game. But hope Ryan Spann's good. I really wanted to see Ryan Spann and Jim Crute, but you know, it is what it is. It's a fight game. These things happen, unfortunately. So we'll have Sam Alvey and Jim Crute at UFC 234.
I can't wait for Sam Alvey to just do what he does and put on a 15-minute boring ass performance and somehow eke out a decision over like a split decision over a rising light heavyweight prospect.
If somehow by like 2021 Sam Alvey finds his way into a title shot, I will renounce this sport and I will just move on.
I'm gonna just start sending hate mail at all the middleweights.
Like Wadman, this is why we needed you.
Like
Where
Luke Rockhold, Mr. Why is Anthony Smith getting a title shot? He sucks. Because he went up to 205 and actually fought like 205ers. And you were dumb. And you got knocked out by Yoel Romero after you missed weight.
He bounced your head off. Jeez, that was such a violent KO. But I hope Rockhold does well at 205. You know what? Actually, speaking of real quick, so this is a random side rant, but it involves Rockhold. Joey sent me a video. I don't know, probably was like a week ago, and it was a video of Rockhold sparring. And I don't know the gentleman he was sparring with. He was tagged in the video, but I don't remember the guy's name. I'm gonna guess just off the eye test, Luke Rockhold looked like he had to weigh like 200 something pounds. He was thick in that video, and the guy he was sparring against probably 155 maybe.
Yeah,
I'm gonna guess and say, and I swear, and Joey can attest to this. If that guy weighed like 20 more pounds, he would have dropped Rockhold in that sparring session because he caught him. He caught him with a nice right hand, and I think Rockhold felt it. This little guy tagged him one good time. I was like, oh boy, if he weighed 20 more pounds, we would have saw Rockhold get KO'd by a lightweight, and I would have completely lost my mind. Just ask Joey to send you that video if he remembers which one. Or if he doesn't, I'll send it to you when I find it. But I just thought that was funny.
Luke.
But hopefully Luke. I want Luke at 205 though, and I want him to do well at 205.
I want to fight and lose to Anthony Smith just to prove that middleweight is bullshit.
It's a made up division.
It just like it's like heavyweight, where like the rules of the sport don't mean anything. It's just whatever. Oh,
Yeah,
here's a 45-year-old man who moves like he's freaking 25.
the rules of the rules just stop applying at middleweight. Just
Here's an Australian karateka who freaking didn't wrestle until he was in his like 20s, and now all of a sudden he's qualified for the Olympics.
Oh boy! And the last bit of UFC news I have, Walt Harris failed his UFC 232 drug test. He tested positive for a substance called LGD 4033. I don't know what that is. You can research it. Apparently, it's illegal. I don't know. I think his people were saying it was a tainted supplement and they can prove it, something. I didn't really look that much into it because I honestly didn't care. But that's my last little news, at least for the UFC. Moving on to Bellator. They also have a card going down April 27th. A couple of big fight announcements. Lima Lay McFarlane will be defending her flyweight title against Vita Ortega. And also on that same card, Roy McDonald will be kicking off this welterweight tournament. We'll have Roy versus John Fitch, and that is on the April 27th card. And moving on to One Championship, they actually have. Oh, I lost the article. Oh, there we go. So One Championship actually has a lot of marquee fights coming soon. So they have an event coming called One Championship New Era, and this is going to be the Tokyo card, I believe, on March 31st. So this New Era card will have Kevin Bellignon and Bibiano Fernandez having their trilogy fight. This article says the 155-pound belt, but I'm 100% positive that's a typo. Should be for the bantamweight title. If you guys didn't watch the last fight, it ended via split decision, and Bellignon won. So they'll be, I guess, closing out their trilogy. Also on this New Era card, we will have Edward Foliang defending his lightweight title against Shinya Aoki. And we will also have atomweight champ Angela Lee fighting the strawweight champ Jingyan Jiang. Hopefully that fight actually happens because we should have had it last year, but I think Angela Lee had gotten injured. So
You should have like twice, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I think
because like
this fight has fallen apart a couple times.
Because like she like fell asleep at the wheel of her car once.
Yeah, I think it was the car accident the first time, and I can't remember what happened the second time.
I think she just hurt her neck or something.
Yeah, but hopefully we get that fight because that should be a really awesome fight. Really looking forward to that one. And Ong Lasong will be defending his middleweight strap against Ken Hasegawa. If you guys don't remember, that was one of my Fight of the Year candidates for 2018. So that should be a slugfest. And we'll also have Demetrius Johnson. He will be making his One Championship debut against Yuya Wakamatsu. That'll be opening up their flyweight tournament over there. And Eddie Alvarez will be kicking off his side of the lightweight bracket against Timothy Nachukin. So that's going to be a really dope card. That's a lot of great fights, all on one event. So be sure to check that out. And the last note that I have, also related to One Championship, something I thought that was interesting. One Championship announced recently that they're partnering with Shudo. And this partnership, apparently all of the champions from Shudo will have a chance to compete in one, and I guess they'll be given contracts. I guess it's kind of like a feeder thing, I want to say.
It's a lot like the UFC and M1, which I don't think has given us any fighters yet, but I could be wrong. I never know. I don't even know who the hell is. I haven't seen an M1 card in forever, so.
Yeah, I haven't either. So yeah, couldn't confirm one way or another. But that seems how it's gonna work. And there is something going on over in Shudo, I guess called the All Japan Amateur Shudo Championship. So whoever wins that, I guess that's a tournament.
Yeah, that's a tournament they run every year.
Yeah, so whoever wins that will get a chance to train at Evolve MMA in Singapore for a year. For you guys who don't know Evolve, that's where Angela Lee trains. That's who else is there at Evolve? A lot of big name fighters are over there. It's one of the big name gyms.
They're also the owners. The owner of the gym is also the owner of one championship, so take that for what you will.
We'll look the other way.
I mean, we kind of have been since day one.
But yeah, so whoever wins that All Japan Amateur Shooto Championship will get a chance to train at Evolve for a year. And as far as the partnership goes, Shooto will provide, I guess, marketing services and like provide scouting for one to, I guess, potentially sign Japanese fighters and whoever else is in that organization.
They're throwing a lot of money into Japan for an audience that just doesn't seem to be there. And I don't say that out of like you shouldn't do that, but like Ryzen has basically kept the same rating since like they got back on since they got on TV, which was not the plan. Like the plan was for them to get on TV and kind of build every year. But from what I've been reading, like the ratings have just stayed the same. So
I don't know. Well, I'll remain optimistic. One seems to be on the right path. Like I said, we said this the last time. They're like the one organization that just seems to be trying things, and I guess it seems like they're kind of working. So we'll see. Maybe Shooto will give them, some fighter. Well, actually, I can't remember the article. I think Shooto has given them fighters before, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or at least there were fighters who fought in Shooto.
Naito was a Shooto fighter, I believe. God, what's
Aoki was too, wasn't he?
And
Aoki was
way back.
Well, yeah, way back there. I know that they've gotten a few notable ones. I want to say. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. But I guess it'll be a little bit different this time because like this is actual partnership, so it's kind of like a path to get to one. Like you won a belt, here you go fight in one. Hopefully you do well.
If only one had a streaming service to hook Shooto fights onto, because it'd be nice to have access to Shooto fights.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because like Shooto's like that weird intersection between like, okay, they have some of the best dudes still fighting in Japan, and they also have like a bunch of guys who do this as like a not even like a side gig, but like they're like they refuse to use their real names because they don't want their bosses to find out they fight on the weekends. So like you'll hear stories about like guys who like I guess vanity search themselves on YouTube, and every once in a while there'll be like an odd Shooto upload, and they'll be like, "Can you please take this down in the comments because I don't want my boss to find out that I fight."
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
it's just a weird dual thing where it's like, oh, there's also the promotion where Kyoji Horiguchi fought in. Like, yeah, it's just a weird dichotomy.
Just keep an eye on that. Like I said, I like what one is doing, so I'm gonna trust and believe that this will do some good for them. And like I said, that new era card is gonna be wild. And I'll actually be referencing that tournament again in a few. So yeah, that was pretty much it for news and notes. Not anything really not a ton going on.
I have one remarkably less interesting but perhaps more funny bit of news from PFL.
Oh boy. All right.
Visa Joey. Carlos Silva, the president of the Pro Fighters League, has left the PFL to go join the World Team Tennis League Association, whatever. For those who don't know, at first I thought the WTT was like, I guess you could say the PGA of golf, and I looked into it, and it is absolutely not that. It is I don't even know if you can call it independent. It's a American-based team tennis league. And perhaps you know more about this than me, because I know nothing. But according to their Wikipedia, they have 6 teams.
World Team Tennis. See, I follow tennis, but I only follow like 4 people. So, I don't really know. But that's a weird switch to go from PFL to. Did they send out those checks yet?
Lance Palmer said he got his.
Oh, all right. There we go.
I don't know if Liz Taylor got his.
Cause my thought was he's fleeing because he knows the check bounced.
And I think he's fleeing because he's like, oh my God, this is a thing that's been around for 50 years.
Well, I mean, tennis is a pretty global sport, so.
Well, this is just all American teams.
Oh.
And they used to have a lot more teams. Good God. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, no, they have 6 now, but they used to have like 20.
That's such a weird switch to go from like MMA to tennis. But I don't know, maybe that. I follow tennis very loosely, so I'm not really sure like the figures of like money. So I don't know, maybe it brings in more money than what I probably know.
It's not as weird as like you see at like even with the UFC, like what's his name? Not John Anik. God, who was the executive who got caught up in the DC Jones fight? Now I feel stupid because we talked about him at length when this happened. When the guy who used to fill in for Dana White.
I do not remember that guy's name.
And now I feel bad.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I could like vaguely remember his face, but I don't remember his name.
Here it is. Former UFC event. Like as soon as I see his name, I'm going to be so upset with myself.
What did he leave and go do?
Dave Shower. He went. That's what it was. It was Dave Shower. He used to be the vice president of public relations, athlete marketing, and development, and now he is doing something with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Probably a much more
secure.
Yeah. Good on him. You definitely made a good move.
He's the vice president of communications for the Sixers. Like you'll see that a lot in sports, where like, oh, you were the VP of like PR or marketing or player communication or whatever. Like, and they'll switch between sports. Not as it's not as normal like at the top. Like if you're like a director or something of the NBA or the NFL, like I'm sure Robert Goodall has been in the NFL, or he's working adjacent to the NFL for most of his career before he was the commissioner.
Gotta get him out of there. That's a whole nother rant. But yeah, that's pretty much it for news and notes. So we have 3 cards to kind of run through. So I'm the only one of us 2 who actually watched the one championship card. So I'm just gonna run through this real quick, and then we'll move on to boxing because we both.
I have a question. Did you pay for it, or did you watch it on TNT?
No, this was actually on their app.
Oh, it was still on the app.
I think I don't know if this is gonna be the last one that's on the app, but yeah, this was on the app, so I didn't have to.
Maybe I
didn't have to use any alternative methods.
Maybe I got confused last week then, because I assumed last week was the last, but I guess they're starting in February. Like,
I'm glad they did.
I'm kind of curious what those reruns are going to look like, because that's how I'm probably going to watch in the future, and they're apparently only going to be like an hour long. Like when they play them at night, the tape delayed airings, because I'm not paying freaking $10 to the Bleacher Report app to watch a card.
That's a no-go. Hardy gave the zone the last $10 I had. Oh no, I gave ESPN the last $5 I had. So I'm all stretched out. You guys aren't, not divvying up my funds anymore.
Dude, they sold like 5,000 pay-per-views in 2017 alone. And I'm not talking about like one event. I mean like the entire year. So if you were on Twitter and you were tweeting about one championship, you were one of 5,000 people to buy a one championship pay-per-view in 2017. That's bad.
I wonder if that's why Michael Chavello retweets me. When I make a post and I hashtag one championship.
That's exactly what he does.
Because he retweeted like 3 of my posts.
Like, that's like, because it's not even $10. It was like $8. So that's like how much? It's like $40,000.
Yeah, that's not good.
Oof.
No bueno. No bueno.
Indeed.
But they did have a card that went down very early. I think this was Friday morning. One championship. Heroes Ascent was the name of the card. I kind of have to breeze through this because I'm the only one who's seen it. And I don't want to ramble here forever. But I'll say overall, man, this card was actually really awesome. Like, I literally watched this pretty much from top to bottom, maybe minus like 1 or 2 prelims that I might have missed. But this card was really, really good. So I'll quickly just run through the main card and like one prelim that I kind of want to highlight. But the main event was the flyweight championship. This was also a trilogy fight. God, I always get his name wrong. GJ Eustaquio and Adriano Moraes fought for the 3rd time. Moraes ended up winning a unanimous decision. It was a nice back and forth fight. A lot of grappling, a lot of transitions. There were points when I thought Moraes was going to lose because he wasn't doing too well on the feet, and he started doing a little better. But it was a nice back and forth championship fight. Like I said, a lot of grappling, a lot of flyweight stuff. Just little guys moving a lot. You know, that kind of thing. But it was a really, really good main event. Go give that a look if you haven't. So congrats to Moraes for winning his belt back again for, I forgot how many times now he's been their flyweight champ, but he got it again, and closes out that trilogy, I guess. Co-main event was kicking off part of the lightweight world Grand Prix. We had Anario Benario and Lowen Taines. This Lowen dude is a beast. Like,
yeah.
he like if you don't watch one, like Anario Benario is a pretty good fighter. Like he's a pretty good guy. Lowen took him down and just beasted on him. Like took him down, just beat him up until he got a TKO, and he made it look very easy. And I'm really excited because Eddie Alvarez, if Alvarez wins, this is who he's going to be matched up against. And I know a lot of these guys, you know.
Dude, that's a fight with say for the finals. Ooh.
Yeah, I think they even interviewed him, and he said he was surprised that they put them on the same side of the bracket. But I say that to say that Alvarez coming over to 1, this isn't going to be a cakewalk. These aren't going to be guys that, he's just going to come through and just murder a bunch of people. Like, nah, these dudes that he's fighting in this tournament are legit.
I mean, like, that's but the thing, like, nobody Eddie Alvarez fights is ever a cakewalk because Eddie Alvarez is just one giant liability to himself.
But you know how it is. A lot of people, you know, if you're not in the UFC, you're not that whole garbage that I don't even understand how in 2019 there are people who still think that way.
Literally, the only easy fight Eddie Alvarez has ever had was against Rafael dos Anjos. It's because he knocked him out early.
He mauled him.
Like,
God.
Remember, freaking what's his name? Patricky Pitbull rocked him in like the first 15 seconds of their fight.
Yeah, that was. Ugh. But nah, man, Lowen Taines. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Last name spelled Tynanes.
Tainanes. I don't remember. It's been so long since I saw him fight. Dude, like 7 years ago, like he was the man. Like he was the next big Hawaiian prospect. Because like he fought on that URCC show. Like this is right around when one started, and then like they had that group of Filipino dudes, like Fola Yang. God, what's his name? The small one. Benario was one of them. Point being, like they had this group of Filipino dudes who were just like tearing people apart, and like they looked really, really good early. And they're like, "Oh shit, we're like we have like an actual stable of like really decent fighters that we got from the Team OK guys. You know, we can build from this." And they let I guess they had a deal with URCC and like a bunch of like small regional promotions to just like get their guys fights when they weren't scheduled. And Tainana just goes into URCC and beats the ever living crap out of Fu Yang in his second pro fight. So I think there was an agreement that if Tainana's won, he would have to sign with one FC, and that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, and he's here, and he's he's making quick work. So yeah, he gave Benario the business. So just be on the lookout. That's a name you wanna keep marked down. He's definitely somebody to keep an eye on. Going down the card, Danny Kinjad against Tatsumitsu Wada. Danny won. I was like half paying attention to this fight. A lot of people on Twitter saying Danny won because he's from the Philippines. So I'll leave that where that is. Some people didn't feel that he won that fight, but you know,
Haters.
It is what it is.
Haters. I mean, I didn't see the fight, so I can't judge, but haters.
Another fight, I was really excited for this one. One of their Muay Thai fights. Rodtang, man, he was on here. Rodtang fought a gentleman named Fahidi Khalid. For the first round, it just looked like Rodtang was gonna maul him. Like he was really like giving Khalid the blues in the first round. But Khalid was game. He came back and fought hard in the second and third. But Rodtang gonna Rodtang. Like he's a showman. He's a very violent Muay Thai fighter. So he just went and did Rodtang things. But it actually ended up being a pretty competitive fight in the second and third. But you know, at the end of the day, Rodtang gonna Rodtang. So you know, he ended up winning the decision. But go back and watch that fight because Rodtang's awesome. At middleweight, they had Reiner de Ritter against Fan Rong. Reiner caught him with a really nice, I don't know if it was a Darce. Choked him out somehow. I can't remember.
It was a Darce.
But, yeah.
At least according to Topology.
Yeah, he got him out pretty quick in round one. And I think that was the main card, or at least most of the fights that I remember. I won't waste time going down the rest of this card. But one last fight I want to highlight from one was actually on their prelims. It was one of the feature prelim fights. Elias Mahmoudi versus Yukinori Ogasawara. And this was a Muay Thai flyweight fight. Elias Mahmoudi is from Algeria. I forgot exactly what his Muay Thai credentials were, but they were pretty high. This dude is a beast, man. Like, this guy, it didn't matter from what range or where they were. He had strikes for every situation. Like, if we're at range, I can throw a teep kick. I can keep you at distance. If we get, not like clinching distance, but if we get up close, I can let off combinations. I can throw whatever I want. If we clinch, I'm just gonna murder you with elbows and knees. Like he had an answer for like every situation. Like poor Yukinori, I think he just kind of got overwhelmed. Like there was no, Elias had so much offense, and it was so effective and just fun to watch. Like this is a guy. I'm pretty sure they'll bring him back. Definitely watch him, man. Elias Mahmoudi. Last name spelled Mahmoudi. This guy is a beast. Beast Muay Thai fighter. So those are just the fights I'll mention. But I mean, there were other fights on the card, but due to time, I can't cover everything. But overall, man, if you can go back and watch this one card, it was really good from top to bottom. A lot of entertaining fights. A lot of finishes, and even the fights that went to decision was still pretty entertaining. And it was a mix of Muay Thai fights and MMA. So it was just really, really fun to watch, man. I thoroughly enjoyed watching this card. Watched it early Friday morning. I think it lasted from like 7 to like 12 or something. But yeah, one championship, Heroes Ascent. Go back and watch that card, man. A lot of awesome fights. A lot of good fighters on that card. So that was one championship. Let's move on over to some boxing. This card was actually going down the same time that Bellator was on. You know what? How to pronounce this guy's name?
Jaime
Munguia.
Munguia.
Jaime Munguia and Tekeshi Inoue were the headliners. Well, I'll let you start this off. How'd you feel about this nice little brawl?
It was very
that
fun.
we got.
Like Tekeshi Inoue, he did what undefeated fighters do, especially when they're really limited and like have just a bunch of self confidence. Like they just get after it, because that's all they know, right? So they realize they can take a punch, and they just don't stop. He ended up losing basically every round on all but one of the judges' scorecards, who actually gave him one round. But like he never stopped coming forward. He stayed in Jaime's face. But he also ate basically everything Jaime threw at him, which is not how you win a boxing match, unfortunately. And like to his credit, Munguia did a good job of just like not losing, I guess. Mind you, he had like a clear size advantage. I have no idea how Tekeshi is a 154 pounder. Like, and this is in large part because Munguia was like 170 pounds in there. And Tekeshi,
Yeah, he was a big boy.
yeah, and they were, and they got on this early, saying like, oh, Munguia had a bad weight cut, and that's why he's looking so bad. Which my response would be, then go up to middleweight, you freaking sociopath, because he's only like what, 22?
22.
Yeah, like he's only getting bigger and denser, so. Maybe now's the time to just bite the bullet, move up to middleweight, and I think they're just reluctant because, like, okay, they move him up to middleweight, and now he has to fight, like, Danny Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin and possibly even Canelo Alvarez, and he's just not ready for that, as clear by this fight, but it was a good showing. It was good work. That was important. That's what's important. It was good work. Like, he can go back to the gym and figure out what he did wrong, but, like, fights at this level shouldn't be a cakewalk for him. Like, he beat Saddam Ali, he beat Liam Smith, he should be fighting dudes who give him good work. Even if he's young.
Yeah, me watching this fight, because I wasn't really too familiar with either of them. I'd heard of Inoue before, but I didn't know Munguia. So I was just amazed that, like, Inoue was just like a zombie in there. Like, he just kept walking forward and finding ways to get in range, as short as he was. Because it just looked like Munguia just kind of towered over him. And Inoue was like, whatever, I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to throw these wild right hands. And, you know, a couple of them might hit you behind the head, but whatever. You know,
that's for God and the referee to sort out.
he was in there throwing bombs, man. But now I was impressed because in a way, for the whole duration of the fight, even when he would get tagged, the man just kept marching forward, and like he was landing some decent shots. They didn't look pretty, and I feel like he didn't really have like much of a game plan other than I'm just gonna march him down, and hopefully one of these right hands just stops him.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a lot of technical things going forward on his side. But it was just an entertaining fight, because I kind of just spent the whole fight just like, well, maybe he'll catch him one good time, and maybe he'll actually put him out. But nah, it didn't happen. Like, he was landing, Inoue was landing some good overhand rights and some good power shots. But Munguia was able to pretty much take him, and he was, you know, probably the more crisp of the two. Like, he was actually throwing like good combinations. He wasn't just kind of like winging shots. And he just withstood the storm. Like you said, it wasn't an easy fight for him, but he definitely won it. He just had a guy who just kind of wouldn't leave him alone. You know, he just kind of had to keep him at bay because Tekeshi was not going anywhere. But it was a really fun main event. I didn't even know that card was on. I just watched it because somebody was talking about it, and I was like, oh, there's some really good boxing going on.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun main event. The co-main event though, which I did get a chance to watch, pretty much in full. I think I switched the last round because one of the Bellator fights I wanted to see was on. But I hope I don't pronounce this guy's name wrong. Xu Can and Jesus Rojas fought for the featherweight championship, WBA featherweight championship. I know some people, from what I saw, disagreed with the decision. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't scoring the fight because I was just so entertained. But I can say some of the scoring was kind of wild. Like somebody gave it to Jean 118 and 110. I don't know about that. But I would have to go back and watch because a lot of the earlier rounds I was just, like I said, a lot of this fight I wasn't scoring. I was just kind of watching. But this might be like an early fight of the year kind of fight. It was so back and forth. Like both of them just came forward, combinations, landing power shots, but nobody's wilting, nobody's giving in. Like these dudes were just throwing. But it wasn't like a sloppy, not like your Forrest Griffin Bonner where it's just kind of like there was technique. Like it was a beautiful fight to watch, and they just went out there and just put on a show. In real time, I thought Rojas was gonna get the nod, but that could be me having recency bias because I feel like in the later rounds, Rojas really started to pick it up, and it seemed like he was the one pushing more of the action, landing more of the combinations, and like Jean was firing back, but to me it seemed like during the second half of the fight, Rojas was getting the better of a lot of the exchanges. But either way, Jean ended up winning, but it was an amazing fight. Like, and it kind of sucked that it was on the zone while Bellator, because I think this fight was happening like while the Pico fight was about to happen, which I know a lot of people wanted to check out, and we'll get to that in a few. But
Yeah.
nah, man, go watch this, man. Xu Can is his name is spelled XU, last name CAN, against Jesus Rojas. If you have the zone, pretty sure you can go back and rewatch this. But yeah, everybody, if you're a boxing fan, go watch this fight, man. It was an amazing fight. Action literally from start to finish. Just both guys just throwing hands. Nobody's going away. Nobody's wilting to any pressure. And they just went in there. They just laid it all out. It was an amazing fight. I can definitely see this on some people's. It's still early in the year, but this will probably be on some people's fight of the year list. At least it's like an honorable mention. So go back and give that fight a watch, man. That was an amazing fight. So those were the two boxing fights that we watched. There was the rest of the card, but I didn't see the rest of the card, so I can't really comment on it.
So real quick, because I forgot about this, and I actually did see parts of it. I didn't see the whole thing. Keith Thurman is back after like 2 years away.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, he took a majority decision over Josecito Lopez in a fight where he did not look very good. And obviously he's coming back from surgery, so like, you have to cut him a little slack, but kind of got his ass beat a little bit towards the end. Hence the majority decision. Like he was taking shots flush, and you can see Kenny Bayless's eyes popping out of his freaking head.
He was. I saw a slow motion replay. He was looking like ooh,
but like some straight up like cartoon eyes popping out the head type deal. Yeah, no, just not a whole lot to add to that. Like Thurman's back. Welterweight's different from when he left, but I guess not too different. Sean Porter and Danny Garcia and Kell Brook and Amir Khan are still around, but now you got Terrence Crawford. Now you got Errol Spence. Hopefully he gets back to 100%, starts looking as sharp as he used to, and we see him fight one of these other big names, because Lord knows if we're gonna be paying all this money to go see all these freaking dudes fight at welterweight on pay-per-view, we should be getting the fights we want to see.
Give me my Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Probably not gonna happen, but just got to keep putting that out in the atmosphere until it becomes a thing.
Yep, basically.
But there was a lot of good, like I said, a lot of good fights. So lots of good boxing. One had a card. LFA had a card too, and God, I've really fallen off on watching LFA. But every time I see the highlights, it just looks amazing. They're still being violent, so go watch LFA if you got access to Access TV. I rewatched some of the card, but I didn't finish it. I had to run it. Might have went to go get food. I did something. I didn't get to finish watching the card. But LFA had a card this past weekend too. That was awesome. So go give them a look. So lots of great fights, man, that went down this weekend that you guys need to check out. But that being said, let's get on to the main event of the evening, and that would be Bellator
214. All your heroes die.
Yeah. Like, oh man, this card here, boy.
Can I just say something before we hop in? I felt woefully unprepared going into this podcast, mostly because I didn't see one. I didn't see the full Thurman fight. I only saw the Munguia Inoue fight like an hour ago, or an hour before we hopped on the call, I should say. And Bellator, I only saw the main card, and only one of the main card fights went longer than 2 minutes.
So guess what that means, guys? You might get out of here before 3 hours. We might get you out of here in actually a timely fashion.
We could talk about the co-main event for a hot minute, though.
Yeah, there'll be some.
There'll be some post-mortem.
Yeah. But I want to save the main event for like a parting shot.
I mean, Fedor won his way through the tournament that nobody thought he would. We all thought Frank Mir would probably knock him out. And then there was a solid chance Chael Sonnen was going to just grapple fuck him for 3 rounds. And that didn't happen. So I feel like everybody should have been prepared for this outcome. And I'm kind of disappointed that I'm the only one who was.
Like, it was in the back of my mind, but I try to belittle that voice. I try to silence it and not believe in it. But it was telling me the truth, and I wasn't ready to hear it. But main event of Bellator 214. Ryan Bader, Fedor Emelianenko, heavyweight title, all that good stuff. There's not really much of anything to dissect in this fight other than they came out, they met in the middle, a few little pity-pat shots were thrown. Ryan Bader throws an ugly left hook, but it connects flush. Fedor goes down. He gets punched a bunch of times. Ryan Bader now has 2 belts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Ryan Bader is champ now. He's the first official double champion in Bellator. I want to say he's the first. No, that was Joe Warren. Never mind. I was gonna say he was the first 2 division champ, but that's wrong. Joe Warren won the featherweight and bantamweight titles. So instead, Ryan Bader is the first man to hold both the Bellator and light heavyweight and heavyweight titles at the same time.
And what's scary is realistically,
Ryan Bader is a top 5 heavyweight.
Oh God, yeah. This, like you said, I should have saw this coming. I should have known that this fight was gonna hurt my feelings, but I wanted to believe in the Cinderella story. And Ryan Bader took that glass slipper and he threw that trash across the room. He stomped on it, burned it, you know. He knocked Fedor out. It was bad. And I just I don't want to hate Bader. He's doing his job, but I just hope when he went to his car, there was no gas in it. I wish him, I wish him very small life inconveniences that just make his life.
I will say this: Ryan Bader and Kyoji Horiguchi, two dudes who, is it fair to say they got cut from the UFC? Because at the end of the day, if the UFC really wants you, they'll keep you. And there's nothing anybody can really do about it. But they have both left and had just enormous success, both financially and professionally for themselves. Without the benefit of the UFC behind them. So we're not in the Strikeforce days, but it's nice. And we're gonna see Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Johnson and Sage Northcutt get the same opportunity. So I think there's a positive message in all this, even if you're sad that Fedor didn't get the right to get smoked by Vitaly Minakov.
See, I could have handled that loss. Minakov is that's Minakov. Ryan Bader, man, the dude who got uppercutted by Tito Ortiz.
Yep.
That's what we do now.
I mean, all that's telling me is Tito needs to get back in the UFC. so we can get Tito Ortiz versus Volkan Oezdemir.
God. But nah, man, I'll try not to be a hater. Kind of piggyback off of what you said. So since going over to Bellator, man, Bader has skyrocketed his career. You mentioned this earlier before we started recording. Bader hasn't been touched since he got in Bellator.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's landed one punch.
Oh, hold up, let me see.
Or nothing significant.
The Davis fight, but
okay, yeah.
Beyond that,
the man has been flawless.
It's been all Ryan Bader.
Yeah, it hasn't even been close. And I mean, realistically, at 205 in Bellator, I don't know who really beats him. The only notable name I can think of that he hasn't fought yet would be McGeary.
How dare you forget Nemkov?
Oh yeah, I forgot he did. Yeah.
Who realistically is no worse than Volkan Oezdemir.
Yeah. They're all in the same
Ovin St. Preux, because at least he beat Phil Davis.
Yeah.
None of those other guys had that type of win on their record.
Now I did see somebody post this on Twitter. How would you feel about Gegard moving up?
Go for it. Dude, Gegard Mousasi fights in the worst division in Bellator, and Bellator has the women's featherweight division, so that says a lot. He's the former light heavyweight champion in Strikeforce. He fought for the he won the freaking K1 heavyweight title. Why isn't he fighting for the title? You feel me?
Yeah, I feel like if he, I forgot who was his next title defense.
It was supposed to be Rafael Carvalho, but he pulled out of the fight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, I say let him defend his belt once, and if he gets by whoever that opponent is, why not just go up to 205 at this point? Just make it fun. And I think he could give Ryan Bader a good fight. If Ryan Bader flatlines him, I'm done. if Ryan Bader catches Mousasi with that sloppy left hook, I'm out of here. But nah, man, Bader. What can you say? The man's been winning, and regardless of how you feel about him being outside of the UFC and it's not real competition, blah blah blah, whatever you want to say.
Dude beat Phil Davis twice, or wait, no, I'm sorry, he beat Phil Davis, and he beat Linton Vassell, and he beat King Mo, and he went up and fought Matt Mitrione, who realistically is still like a borderline top 15, top 20 heavyweight. Like,
not only that, but I just not even looking at it from a competition standpoint, but just from a standpoint of somebody just just looking at his career. Like, I'm pretty sure he's being compensated fairly well, probably being treated pretty well.
yeah,
He's winning.
yeah.
Like, you can look at it and say from an outsider, like, oh, he's not the real champ, blah blah blah. But I'm pretty sure when he looks at his bank account, he's pretty happy.
I mean,
Like,
for what it's worth, he's the second best light heavyweight on earth, and yes, I'm including Gus. Like, just resume for resume. Like, I think Bader's is better.
I was gonna say Bader's only 2 losses were to Jones. Well, no, not 2. He has more than 2 losses. Right?
Yeah, he lost to Machida, he lost to Glover, he lost to Tito and Jones and to Glover.
Back when Glover was still like he was old, but he was like old young.
Like, he was just getting in the UFC, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and even
So,
like,
like-
and that's a fight where it's a lot like the Pico fight, where like
Yeah,
he
where
was
yeah.
beating the crap out of Glover until he wasn't.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bader, he's doing really well for himself. Like, I can't even, as much as I want to hate, and I still hope his car didn't have gas in it. He's doing well, man. The man's winning. He's out here handling business. So he's got 2 belts now. I'm guessing he will fight the winner of Kongo and Minikov. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I guess. Unless they want to get Nemkov in there.
Yeah.
And I don't see why they would want to be honest.
Yeah, Nemkov or because McGeary's on like a 1-fight win streak. So yeah, I don't know. Bellator's kind of wild, so that could happen. But we'll see. Either way, it doesn't matter if he loses 1 belt. He still has another one. So
Dude, like Gegard Mousasi,
he's winning that life.
Let's get that going. They gotta fill in these DAZN freaking dates somehow, right?
Right. Make my 10. Well, how much money I spent on it? $9.99. I don't even know.
I'm sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry. I said Gegard Mousasi, Rafael Carvalho. I meant Rafael Lovato.
Yeah. That's what pulled up. But
For the record, Fedor is no longer with Bellator. That was his last fight on this contract.
ugh.
So he is free to I don't know, flirt with the UFC and then go sign with like Super Fight League.
Oh no, we're gonna get Fedor versus
Fedor versus Felipe Lins,
Oh.
PFL. Let's go.
Oh god, that wasn't what I was thinking of. I was gonna say Fedor versus Brandon Vera. That's gonna be the next thing. But what if they did let Fedor in like the next heavyweight tournament? No, I don't want to watch that. Cause then if Fedor loses in PFL's heavyweight tournament, he's gonna lose to like a guy I've never heard of. Like, he'll lose the first round to some guy named like Joe something, who was like a plumber 2 years ago. He found fighting somehow. I don't want to see that. But, I don't know, man. I'm hurt after that fight. I'm just kind of hurt. I'll wait to see what Fedor does in terms of retirement and all that. We'll see if that happens or if he, takes another ride. But Ryan Bader, man, he's just out here winning at life, and I can't be mad at it, but I am, and I'm just gonna be bitter for a while, and that's just what that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened. So Bader won by KO, double champ. Congrats, but congrats. Moving on, co-main event. Really looking forward to the fight. Aaron Pico versus Henry Corrales. So before we even get to what happened, I was anticipating this fight for a number of reasons. One, Aaron Pico fights are always a good time. Henry Corrales fights, pretty much always a good time. This was easily, I knew coming into this fight was going to be Pico's toughest test. Corrales has been around for a while, man. He's fought a lot of good guys. If you saw his last fight, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he face planted him. So I just knew for Pico, like, regardless of if he won or not, this was not going to be an easy outing. Like, he wasn't just going to come in and catch Corrales with a body shot and make him do a cartwheel.
He almost did.
Something crazy. Yeah, he almost did. But, like, I knew he was going to have to work for this one. And he worked for it, and then he got worked. Yeah, man, it came out, man. Typical Pico fashion, comes in looking real confident, throwing some hard power shots, some hard combinations. I like his hook to the body, leg kick combination. I enjoy that. So you know, it was looking like a typical Pico fight. Just kind of waiting to see when he was gonna land his big shot. Catches Corrales with an uppercut. I think it was an uppercut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Drops Corrales. Corrales is on Square Street. It's not looking too good. For a second, we're like, oh, Pico's about to get another highlight finish. And I was actually going to be kind of surprised if he put Corrales away so quick. So he catches Corrales with uppercut. Doesn't go for the takedown. Moves in. And I'm not going to fault him because I'd be a hypocrite. Because I don't like... it always bothers me when fighters stun somebody and then they take it to the ground. So he kept it standing. But Pico kind of has this one gaping hole in his game, and that is defense. He doesn't have much of it.
It's more than defense. It's more than fighter IQ. I wasn't on last week, but. And I didn't see, like, the only fight I saw was the Cejudo Dillashaw fight. I didn't even bother to go back and watch the rest of the card. But I read the results and I saw that Alex Hernandez lost. And he said something really prescient at the post fight presser. He basically said he has to learn how to fight. Because it's one thing to learn how to do things like to throw punches. Get takedowns, get submissions and something like that. It's another thing to do that with like active resistance.
All right.
Like somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who, in theory, somebody who's not gonna be scared off by how athletic and how powerful and how big and how strong you are. You know what I mean?
Right. He wasn't bringing Corrales anything he hadn't seen before.
Right. Maybe not anything he hasn't seen before, but Corrales is not. Corrales is tested. He's not gonna freak out because because this is new to him, like.
Right.
So, I think that it's more of that. Like, yeah, Pico knows how to throw punches. He knows how to slip punches. He's probably decent at all that. He has to learn how to fight. Like, he has to learn how to, when somebody is expecting you to, has a beat on your timing, like, he has to learn how to fight. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, when they got into that clinch, I started getting worried because,
like,
it wasn't like it wasn't like the top plum clinch where you're kind of like controlling their movement a little bit. This was just kind of like, we're clinching, I have one hand wrapped around your head.
And he has one hand wrapped around mine. Let's go.
Yeah, and we're just going to wing punches and just see who falls. And it just like that was just kind of a careless kind of thing to do on top of the fact that it's not like when he clinches, like, he's not really moving anywhere. We're just going front to back. There's no side movement. There's no so you're a
There's no
target.
jerking of like
Yeah.
he's not even like he's not pulling down on the head. Like he's just wrapping it.
You're right. So it's like y'all pretty much y'all just standing in front of each
Yeah.
other. So now it's just a matter of
Like if this was taking place on the street, they'd be grabbing each other by the collar and just swinging with the other hand.
right and just winging punches, and whoever connects first or whoever connects cleaner is just gonna win. So they're in the clinch, they're throwing strikes, and you could just feel it like, oh boy, just don't get caught. And I was worried because I'm like, all right, if you're gonna clinch and be reckless, just throw an overhand right or something. We're throwing these like uppercuts and shots that like are landing, but like they're, I don't know. And it bothered me because he stayed in the clinch for so long. Like, if he would have threw a couple and backed out, or maybe threw a couple and like pulled his head down, like just something, he stayed in that position just for way too long. And they're throwing strikes. Next thing you know, right hand comes over the top, and Pico's soul just leaves his body.
He did to Pico what Pico did to that poor Marine.
Right. Pretty much.
Like bent forward so hard he goes backwards.
Yeah.
And goes stiff.
Body the mini whiplash.
Yeah.
And just completely just gets blasted with a right hand. And you know, Corrales follows up with some ground and pound. Probably didn't even really need it, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. And that was it. Like, he murdered him. And like I said, I wasn't surprised that Corrales won, because Corrales is a tough dude. He's been there, done that, and I've seen him face plant people before. But it was just kind of wild to see Pico, like, man, you got... I think it's one thing for somebody to get caught in like a submission.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing where a dude just like, he just absolutely floors you. And we're just watching Pico's lifeless body like, ooh, here lie our prospect. You know, he's
down for the night.
He's out of here. He got cleaned. Like, no dispute, no fluke. You got rocked, and it was pretty bad. So I guess question now. I mean, well, first, congrats to Corrales. He's actually been on a really good roll lately. Whatever work I guess they're doing in the MMA lab is it's paying off. It's working. He's out here flatlining people. So just shout outs to Corrales, man, for just
that's 5 straight.
He seems like he's getting the ball rolling, or it's been rolling. So he's probably due for a title shot.
Well, AJ McKee's probably gonna get it next. Well, it depends. I don't know what they want to do. Like, if they can do the Pitbull fight, they'll probably do that, and probably have AJ McKee versus Henry Corrales in the meantime, which I think would be a dumb idea, but not for no other reason than they need people to line people up for titles. Yeah. Like I don't like. Pitbull was tweeting about wanting to go fight in Japan in April just because I guess he's tired of waiting around for fights. Who knows?
We'll see. But either way, Corrales sets himself up for, if not a title fight, like a contender fight, a big fight. Which this was kind of a big fight, but you just starch like the number one prospect in the organization, so you got to be in pretty good standing.
He's like, and Coker's upset. And he's like, you have to fight Daniel Strauss now.
But I guess the more pressing question. So what happens with Pico now?
Stop trying to hotshot him. Like, I don't know, resign him to a smaller contract because I think he was getting 45 and 45 for this. If I'm remembering right, and just be like, yo, we have to build you from the ground up. And this is one of the things that the UFC's monopolization has where it's kind of benefited prospects. One, there's not this pressing need to have a guy climb up the rankings as quick as possible and like get all these wins and get all these like there's no fluff, right? And
Right.
fluff is good, especially in like the first 10 fights of your career shouldn't fucking matter. Like you're learning the sport. Aaron Pico has never left the first round at all. Win or loss. Like all the guys he fought have had multiple times more fights than he has, win or lose. Like I don't but like Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt is like the closest analog to like Aaron Pico. He got in the UFC super young, was really just knocking dudes the F out. And then all of a sudden he runs into somebody like Guido Canetti, who I'm sure the UFC thought was just like a throwaway fight. Like they could just book him real quick and get him in there. But it turns out Guido Canetti's a really tough dude and he's not very good, but he's crafty. And he gives Garbrandt like 3 hard rounds that Garbrandt had never had before. That's the type of fight that Aaron Pico needs. Like he needs a limited but durable guy who will give him rounds and time. Like I can't stress enough how important cage time is. I think we're past the days where we're just gonna see like Cain Velasquez just shoot up the rankings because like well maybe not heavyweight but like in these other divisions we're past the day.
Yeah, I was gonna say the smaller divisions they're too good.
Yeah, like there will never be a dude who just runs roughshod over the welterweight division. Or like, and the closest way I guess we have to is like Khabib Nurmagomedov, and this is a dude who still goes rounds. Like he's not out here getting guys out in the first round. He's still going deep into fights with people, even when he's like winning. And he's having tough fights with like Gleason Tebow. So, point being, like just cage time is so important when you're young. And I get the whole, oh my God, he's out here blowing guys out in like a round thing, but this was going to happen eventually. It just is what it is. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say like him. I don't think him losing. I mean, obviously, all right, you get starts. Nobody wants to get starts, especially not like that. But I don't think it's like the end of the world. Like you ran into a dude who, dude was battle tested. He wasn't gonna go away easy regardless. He kind of exposed the flaws that you had. He was able to capitalize on them. But I don't think I don't think it's a shot to panic like, oh, Pico's done. Like, no, you just listen, man. No, none of us leave. No, I say us like we compete, but nobody leaves this sport unscathed. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna catch one of those kind of embarrassing losses where it's like, oh, that was like those are gonna happen, and I always say this: I'd rather it happen earlier than your career than you catch one of those later.
But like, that's the thing. Like, it normally does. Like, before Jose Aldo lost to Conor McGregor, like, do you remember the dude who beat Jose Aldo?
I think I looked up the fight on YouTube. I don't know that guy's name.
I want to say it was Luis Acervado, something like that. Okay, Luciano Azevedo. He's now a cop in like Rio de Janeiro. That fight happened in Jungle Fight in 2005. Nobody knew about it. Nobody cared.
Right, just like Chris Cyborg got submitted her first.
Exactly. Like these things shouldn't matter because it's early in your career, and MMA is such a chaotic ass sport that you could be beating the crap out of a dude. And while he's on the ground, he just snatches your leg and you're getting knee barred. Or, you get triangled. Or he you're leaning over to go into like to try to pass the guard, and all of a sudden he just kicks you and you're out. Like
Right.
crazy stuff happens. Like there's not a singular skill set in MMA like there's in boxing that will prevent that from happening. All you can do is hope.
Yeah.
So, like, these are not losses that should be held against Aaron Pico in the grand scheme of things, just because, one, again, the first 10 fights of your career shouldn't matter at all. And, like, two, like, these are guys who, realistically, if this was, like, a normal prospect, they'd be getting their asses beat. And for the record, like, Aaron Pico could have easily won this fight.
Yeah, but I say he was a couple seconds away.
Yeah. The only thing that stopped him from winning was experience. Just like just not knowing that not doing the thing he was doing was stupid. So, like, it sucks because it's knocking this is knocking shine off him. Like, I doubt Aaron Pico is going to, like, his next fight is going to have him, as the on the opening screen of ESPN like his first fight did. Like, every loss is just is depreciating, and that's just the landscape of the sport we're in today. Like, there's just so much happening at all times that, like, if you lose, you get lost. You're yesterday's news, and that sucks. But that's just the nature of it nowadays. So, like, I think this and just from a health perspective, is not good. Getting knocked out twice, very badly in 2 years, or no, he didn't get knocked out versus Freeman, but he did get the crap knocked out of him. But like that's a lot of brain damage for a 22-year-old, and I think he trains at AKA, so Lord knows what he's putting his body through.
Right.
But like I'm not giving up on Pico unless they just keep hot shotting him like this, because maybe eventually he gets it, but it's going to happen when like his chin is shut, like his chin is just glass, or his athleticism goes, or one of the million other things that could go wrong happen, and he's going to have a record that looks like Carlos Condit.
Yeah.
If he's lucky.
Don't want. Yeah. I guess I'll say, to kind of close out for him. I wasn't too mad at them hot shotting them, only because like he just kind of Bellator doesn't benefit from what the UFC has in terms of depth. So I feel like after a while, like if you keep winning, it's like we kind of. Well, maybe I can't say that because, boy, MVP.
MVP hasn't fought a real opponent in Bellator in like 7 years.
They strung him along too long. But, like,
but
I guess
the
with
thing, they
AJ
really
McKee, I think
didn't, though. Like, Mike, like, what's MVP's record?
Good question. We will research. MVP is.
He's 13-0 right now, right?
I believe so. Yep, 13-0.
So he gets to Bellator after he gets to 5-0, right? So he fights Ricky Rainey, Nishan Burrell, Rudy Bears. Okay, that's a walkover fight. Charles Ontiveros, that's a walkover fight. Jeremy Holloway, that's a walkover fight. Then he fights Cyborg, who admittedly has no business fighting in the year of our Lord 2016. But is not too far removed himself. Like, and obviously, I have forgotten that fight was 2 months after he got knocked out by Saad Awad. Which, again, no reason that fight should happen. But Cyborg is a step up from what he's seen. Like, that's a proper step. Like, and then he fights Fernando Gonzalez, which I think was at the time the best matchup for him. If you're developing him,
that was the and that ended up being a tough fight for him. He didn't do too. He won it, but it wasn't pretty.
Right. And like Ricky Rainey and Nishan Burrell were good fights for like his first 2 fights in Bellator. And say what you want about Dave Rickles, but the dude's no scrub. He is a battle-tested vet. So, and maybe stylistically he plays to MVP strengths, but at the same time, you know, like Bellator is working with the roster they got, not the one they want.
I guess for Pico, like, once he won the Noad fight, and that guy was like a former title challenger, I just think at that point, because at least, like, let me go back to MVP. Like, the fights that he was winning, like, they were solid comp. But I would say outside of, I can't remember where, Gonzalez was probably ranked pretty high.
Gonzalez is weird because he never made weight, ever.
Yeah, all right, so, yeah. With the Noad fight for Pico.
You mean Ego?
Yeah. I'm getting names mixed up.
He,
You fight a title challenger, a former title challenger. It's kind of hard to like go back now.
and that's
Like,
fair. Like,
I feel like
even before this fight, I said, you know what? Give him Henry Corrales. Henry Corrales is not a dangerous dude. Turns out that was completely wrong, by the way. But like, and I don't think this is as devastating a loss from him developmentally as much as it is just like fanfare. I guess that's my long and short of it, and brain damage. Like,
I guess my thing is I'm not mad at them fast shotting to this because I think it was just kind of one of those things that just kind of happened, and he just kind of just kept winning. But now I want to see what they do afterwards, because now I'm on watch. Like, okay, his next fight, you can't fight like Daniel.
you know who he should have fought?
Like,
he should have fought someone like Justin Lawrence.
yeah, that would have been a good fight. Like somebody who's competent, who's tough, who has a pretty decent enough skill set, but a fight that like he can win. Or
Yeah.
should win.
Or like a Brian Moore or Jeremiah Labiano. Like, I'm just going through the list of dudes. Like Noad Lahat. That's a fight he should have.
So now he's gonna have to.
Now he's gonna have to learn how to fly knee dudes in the face. But
Yeah. But man, these fights happen. It kind of is what it is.
Like,
but like I said, I don't think it's the end of.
they paid
Pico,
him too much money for it to be the end of Pico.
Yeah, he's an
I am curious if this like the Olympics are coming up next year, and he said he might try out. And for those who don't know, Pico was like 1 point away from making the Olympic team in 2016 at 19 years old. Like, against like some of the best collegiate wrestlers the sport of like the NCAA's ever had. So, like, he is no scrub, and I don't know if he's been keeping up with his wrestling training, given how much he seems to love boxing nowadays. But if he's going, full time in the gym on the wrestling, we could see him be taking a break soon. And I think it would be good for Bellator, to be honest, just to have some time away from him, let him go do his own thing.
I don't know. Well,
And if he goes and
we'll see.
actually makes it on the Olympic team, it's an angle for them to run with.
Right, especially does successful, hit him with like the Cejudo angle. It all works out. But we'll see. But props to Corrales, man. You got a nice little highlight reel going with that, and we'll see what they do with Pico next. Hopefully not anything too crazy. Gotta build the man back up. But we'll see how that goes.
I hope Corrales gets the title shot this year.
Yeah, he's got to.
I always like the homegrown, not NCAA wrestlers who, they're just out here plugging away in Bellator, waiting on their time. Like,
I still want to see Pitbull and Chandler though.
Yeah. There's no reason Pitbull can't fight 3 times this year, unless he's unhealthy, which happens because he like I think Pitbull's body's starting to break down on him.
All the more reason we need to do the Chandler fight before
He's just done physically. Yeah.
Bring me my violence. But that was the co-main event. Corrales won by KO round 1. Moving down to another fight that I guess some people were anticipating. Mr. Jake Hager, aka Jack Swagger, went against J.W. Kaiser. This fight, all of the jokes we've had about like in the old Bellator, how like a lot of their prelim fighters were like people who were like truck drivers a week before. J.W. Kaiser definitely just got his CDL like 3 months ago. They got a
you
chance
talk
to
about
get
J.W. Kaiser has been hitting these roads for 15 years.
Oh man. Yeah. They found J.W. Kaiser somewhere. I don't know where. Hopefully, I hope he got paid decent for this. But
Buy him a whole bunch of meth.
There you go. numb the pain of the loss. But, Mr. Jake Hager. You know what? I'm not gonna bash Jack or Jake, whatever he wants to be. I don't know what he wants to be called.
I'm calling him Jack Swagger, and you can't stop me.
Yeah, that's what people will know him for anyway.
So the most unseeming part of this fight is the fact that I guess Bellator couldn't get the WWE to okay Jack Swagger using his entrance song from like his time in professional wrestling, because instead he had that guy rap him out to the ring or cage, and it was awful. I was having like Brad McDonald having his friend walk him out at Tachi Palace fights. It's just like, has there ever been a successful like rap ring walkout? Like, I like J Rock, but I didn't like the walkout he did for what's his name, where he just did win.
I feel like I don't know. Yeah, the fight, the rap walkouts are kind of weird. Like and it's like even if you like the artist, it doesn't cross over the way you like imagine it in your head. Right. Like I don't see whoever insert rapper and get like hype when they start rapping.
You just have Roy Jones rapping me to the cage.
Now you know what? I think if Roy Jones and those guys came down in a black vest, I'd probably get kind of hype. If they do the can't be touched choreography.
You know what I think it is though? And I realized this when they did the what was it, the Chad Mendez McGregor fight, and they had Sinead O'Connor and that country guy whose name escapes me. What I think it is especially with hip hop, songs tend to be like braggadocious about the person actually rapping, and it doesn't work when the person who is there rapping the song is trying to be the center of attention. You feel me?
Right.
Because it feels like they're taking away from the dude who's actually walking out, like who's walking out his big moment, and is going just like me, and it cheapens it.
So then you have to cater the song to the person.
Right. And even then, it just sounds like you're a hype man.
right. Now you're
it doesn't feel like you're setting a mood. It just feels like you're there to, make awkward faces in the background while you wait for Busta Rhymes to stop rapping.
Well, maybe it provided some inspiration because, I won't make fun of Jack, man. He went in there and handled business. Albeit it was against J.W. Kaiser.
I mean, freaking CM Punk could have handled business against Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's pretty similar.
And and looking at Jack, like I wasn't expecting anything to really honestly, I didn't really know what to expect watching this fight. Like I knew Jack had like a wrestling background.
He wrestled
but-
what's his name? The dude who fought for the WSOF heavyweight title. His name escapes me. Fuck.
Now Ivanov?
No, he was the American Olympic wrestler who was from Jersey and had mad judo skills.
Well, I'll say for Jack, there are some other debuts that happened on this card. One that I will get to in the prelims. Jack looked much better.
Yeah.
Of the two. I mean, the fight was actually pretty simple. Like Jack came out, immediately close distance. I think he caught a right hand coming in, but it didn't matter. Close distance. He caught Kaiser with a nice takedown. He reached down and like pulled his foot, and took him down. Got on top. Looked pretty good on top control. Like he actually looked pretty comfortable. Like he came down. He got the takedown. He was able to advance position. He started dropping some elbows and some ground and pound, and then eventually that led. And those elbows were kind of hard too. Like he was putting some weight behind those. I didn't realize he's a pretty big dude too. Like a pretty tall guy. He's like 6'5".
Jack, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, he's a pretty big guy. Didn't know how big he was. But yeah, he got him down, elbowed him, beat him up a little bit, got an arm triangle.
Yeah, it was really weird though. He didn't look like a heavyweight. And maybe this is just because he was fighting W Kaiser. And I don't mean like, because like I'm used to him looking like bigger. Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's I'm used to him looking like friggin' like a roided up like muscle head, like all the other WWE wrestlers his size. But
he looked like
he looked lean, which I'm not used to.
He looked like a dad who like
exercises. Like he doesn't lift weights, but he runs.
You're right. he had that kind of build. Like it was the dad. Not it's not a dad bod, but it's like he was the dad who was like athletic in college, but still like he can still like run 2 miles every day. Yeah, he had that kind of bod. But like he looked pretty comfortable in there. Like went in, got his takedown, didn't do anything crazy. On the ground, he looked pretty confident, like he knew what he was doing. He didn't look confused, and when he got his opportunity, he went for it, and it worked. I don't know what this means. I don't know what you do with him next because heavyweight is just weird. So I never really know how to predict what's going to happen at heavyweight. But he looked, I guess, for a guy who doesn't have any MMA experience, he looked pretty solid to me. Like I said, albeit it's against J.W. Kaiser, whatever that's worth, but he looked decent. So I don't have anything really bad to say about it.
I mean, as far as debuts go, this is about as good as you can expect from a 35-year-old.
Yeah.
So, shouts to Jack Swagger.
Shout out to him. Holding it
down. I really wish they played his theme song.
So, Jack Swagger won via arm triangle choke. So that's how that fight went.
He was still wearing his freaking We the People shirt. What?
Is that like his thing?
Like his whole thing when he comes out is he puts his hand over his heart and goes, "We the people." And for the longest time, it was just it wasn't even like a coded racist thing. It was a blatantly racist thing. Like him and like his other guy, whose name escapes me, who's like an actual wrestling legend, and I'm actually kind of upset I'm forgetting his name. Like they would come down and they would be like, and the guy would cut a promo like, "We're gonna build that wall," and then Texas would cheer because it's Texas. Yeah, like this was a real thing. Mind you, this wasn't recent. This was like years and years ago when like the idea of a wall ever being built was like not even like a possibility. So they were just like, we're gonna play up this racist redneck stereotype for Jack Swagger because Jack Swagger can't cut a promo, and the only guy we can kind of looks like who can be his manager kind of looks like a racist. It's really weird. And then. Oh my god! And then, like, mind you, they were heels, right? like they were supposed to be booed, and then like I guess Jack Swagger got hurt. He went away. He came back, and like the dude who he was with, like his manager, teamed up with this Mexican dude to make the Mexican American Alliance, and they were the heels now. And Jack Swagger would be like, he came out, he's like, you forgot what "We the People" stands for, and all I could think of is stood for racism, bruh. Why are you the good guy?
Oh man.
I was so confused.
Oh god. But he got his W. Moving on to the next fight, Juan Archuleta versus Ricky Bandejas. This is another fight I was actually pretty hyped for. Bandejas came over to Bellator. Shawn Michaels super kicked James Gallagher to another planet. I knew Juan Archuleta was going to be a tough fight. I was interested to see how this was going to play out. Pretty close fight. It was 29-28 across the board from the scorecards. Juan Archuleta, a lot of grappling, a lot of pressure. I was actually impressed with both of them. Like, Archuleta definitely came out and asserted his game plan of just kind of getting in Ricky's face, grappling. When they were at distance, he was kind of just winging some, like he was just kind of leaping in and winging shots. But I think he just did good, just kind of being more active. Bandejas, I think, spent a lot of this fight on the defensive. And to me, it was kind of weird because in real time, I remember thinking I thought Ricky won because he had a really good third round. But when I rewatched it, I was like, okay, I can see why Juan won this fight. Like, Juan didn't, from what I remember, he didn't do like a ton of damage. It was more so just like a lot of control. Not to say he didn't land any strikes or anything, but he didn't really have like any wow moments. It was more so just, I can control, I can grapple.
Like, a lot of his offense was neutralizing whatever Bandejas wanted to do and making him react.
Right. Because Bandejas spent a lot of this match, even though he would get up for takedowns, he was always pretty much like on the defensive. And not until maybe like mid-second round, he did have a really good third round where he caught Juan with a nice it was like he was waiting for like either like a perfect counter or just like a perfect moment to land a shot. He caught Juan with a nice, I want to say it was a head kick that he caught him with. That kind of backed him up a little bit. And then in the third, he was able to get his strikes loose a little bit more. But I just think he spent too much of the fight either on the defensive or even when he was on the offensive, he didn't have like a ton of output. And it was more so, it just seemed like he was like waiting for something. And meanwhile, Juan is just out there. I'm gonna grab you. I'm gonna slam you. I'm gonna press you up against the cage. I'll get in your face. So on and so forth. So just like Ricky might have been able to steal the fight had he just kind of thrown more, because there were just a lot of moments where he was just kind of fainting and just kind of it was like he was just waiting for something to happen. And then by the time he made something happen, it was kind of too little too late. But no, it was an interesting fight. I was interested to see how it would play out. I was low-key rooting for Ricky, but no, it ended up not going in his favor. But, dude's still really, really talented. I was impressed with his takedown defense, how many times he was able to just kind of get right back up as many times as he got taken down. But unfortunately, on scorecards, you don't get points for getting back up because you got put down, so you do.
You do in wrestling. It's really weird. Now I think about it, but yeah. Yeah, no, Ben, like you said, like Bandejas, like once he actually started throwing and putting things out there for Juan Archuleta to react to, he did fine. He won the third round. He landed that big knee, came close to the head kick. Controlled the majority of the third round, but like the first 2 rounds were really just him reacting, and like you can tell, like I'm not gonna say shook, but like how much like Archuleta's aggression got to him early, because like after like the first like 4 minutes, Archuleta kind of just like does a soft feint. It's not like a feint to like actually draw like a big reaction out of you, and you see Ricky Bandejas just like stomp, like he's either about to pivot out or he's about to jump out the way. He just kind of stomps, and it's not like a feint stomp. It's like, oh crap, he's coming after me, and I need to move. And it's like at that point, it's like, oh, he's lost momentum of the fight. So, and that was the first 2 rounds of the fight. So, going back to what I said about Pico, like this is learning how to fight. This is, oh, I have to take initiative.
All right.
So, but still, like, solid performance from Bandejas. Like, he realized that he was down and he needed to do something, and he went out there and he tried and came up short, but happens. Like,
yeah, I mean, could have been worse.
Like, he didn't get out there and get outclassed. He didn't go out there and get like stopped or anything. Like, yeah, if he gets a few wins in a row, he's not gonna. Yeah, like this will be just a roadblock. Not roadblock, a hurdle.
And for Juan, continuing. I want to say he's got a win streak.
Dude's on like a 22 fight win streak.
Like he's out here handling business.
He is the Jimmy Rivera of Bellator, which is really weird because Jimmy Rivera fought in Bellator.
Yeah.
So he's like on a 17 fight win streak because he lost his 6th fight.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I gotta get that guy a name now. Well, I mean, Ricky, you gotta.
Yeah, 4 wins in Bellator, so.
Yeah, I think that's enough to.
You can do AJ McKee, you can do Henry Corrales. Like, well, dude, if Pitbull really wanted to get 3 fights in this year, like that, he's got a line.
Yeah, give him somebody. There's some bodies out there to throw around. But yeah, shout outs to Juan. Pretty solid performance. Still looking forward to see what they do with Ricky next. And rounding out the main card, we had Adele. Oh, gonna butcher this. Altamimi versus Brandon yeah, it's not McMahon, is it? I'm gonna say McMahon. It's probably wrong. McMahon.
McMahon.
McMahon. You're McMahon today, buddy. So, yeah, this fight, much like a lot of fights on this main card, ended fairly quickly. All I remember in this fight is when it went to the cage. Adele grabbed Brandon's arm very aggressively. He pulled it down to the floor. I don't know if he was going for like a Kimura or something at first, or if this was just all a part of the master plan. But he grabbed Brandon's arm very aggressively, got him down to the ground. They rolled around for a little bit, and at the end of the rolling around, Brandon found himself on the wrong side of an armbar, and got tapped out. And they gave Adele like a lot of shine on this card because of his whole backstory. Like, he had a whole story.
Was he a U.S. military member? Because they love those.
No, so his story was or was he in the military? I can't remember. He was in Iraq or somewhere in the Middle East. Can't remember. And he was with. I'm probably gonna butcher some of this story because I can't remember it verbatim. But he was with like a friend and like his sister or something like that. 2 people he knew very closely. And he witnessed one of them got beheaded, I think, like literally in front of him, or both of them did, something like that. Like, they both died in front of him via, like, I don't know if it was ISIS or Al Qaeda, something like that. I think it was Al-Qaeda, actually. He said they got, like, beheaded in front of him. And then he was up next to get beheaded. Like, they had the knife to his throat and everything. And, like, Marines came and saved him. So, like, when he wears, like, I don't know if you saw it, but, like, when he won, his flag is, like, double-sided. So he has, like, the flag of his home country and then, like, the USA flag on the other. So, kind of like he's grateful that the Marines, like, saved him, like, literally, like, seconds before he's about to die. So that was his whole backstory. And then he trained, God, I'm messing up this story. He trained at, I can't remember what gym, but, you know, like, a really nice guy. Like, a lot of people like him. You know, apparently, like, great coach, great trainer, all that good stuff. And Bellator came in and offered him, like, a 2-fight contract or something.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so this was him taking advantage. And he looked pretty good. Like, dude came out, grabbed that arm, and went to work.
I got the SI story right in front of me if you want me to read a little bit of it.
Yeah,
MMA fighter Adel Altamimi has one of the most unique backstories in all of sports. The Baghdad, Iraq native drove convoys for the Marines before being captured by Al-Qaeda, ultimately being saved by his fellow Marines and returned to the United States. In addition to his military service, Altamimi is friends with Hollywood actor Chris Pratt. Altamimi trained in Pratt in Los Angeles, forming a bond before Altamimi entered professional MMA circuit. It does not say anything about that, but he was an Al-Qaeda hostage.
Okay, that's what it was. Oh yeah, and Chris Pratt was actually in his corner. He was in the ring.
That's neat.
After he won. Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of people were really, really pulling for him. So yeah, that was pretty dope that he won. And like, it's also good that because he looks like a pretty talented fighter. Somebody they might be able to keep around and see what he can do if he's snatching up arms like that. But nah, man, shout outs to Adele. That was a pretty impressive win. Getting that armbar. So that was pretty much the main card. It's kind of wild. If you look at the total of the main card, it lasted about 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 minutes in total of just like fight time.
Well, no, because then they had the whatchamacallit fight. The Archuleta Bandejas fight was like 15.
Oh, no,
so
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
25 minutes.
So it would have been,
But
yeah,
still,
25
it was
minutes.
like a 3-hour broadcast.
Yeah, because God, they kept doing those commercials and what is AJ McKee post on Instagram and like I get it. It was something different for Bellator, you know.
I'm cool. Yeah,
with
I'm
the
cool with
fans.
them trying to like give us a personal connection to the fighters. And to be fair, it was a shit ton better than the PBC ones, where they literally just had them in this blank ass gym, and they're like, "My name is
Right.
Jermel Charlo, and I knock
Right.
people out." And then he hits the heavy bag for like 12 seconds, and then it's over.
Yeah, this was like more personal. Like they were actually like telling stories. And,
The one guy.
yeah, so I wasn't mad at what they did, but it seemed like it dragged out for a very long
Right.
time. And then they did the national anthem before the main event. I had to sit through the national anthem only to watch Fedor get decapitated. I didn't want to see
What's
it.
more American? It's basically Rocky. This is basically Rocky, and Ryan Bader is basically Sylvester Stallone. Also Creed.
All rolled in one. Oh man, but that was the main card. So I'll talk about some of the prelims because I know you didn't get a chance to.
Well, I'm watching a highlight of our boy, BJJ Superstar.
Oh, we're gonna get to him. I'm gonna list. I'll just name off some of the wins, and we're gonna save AJ for last. I'm gonna get to him. Because boy. But I'll just run through these real quick. Thor Skanky. Yeah, that's his name. Thor Skanky. Defeated Jesse Merritt via North-South choke. Shout outs to him, actually. I can't remember the last time I've seen a North-South choke finish. So that was kind of cool to see. So shout outs to Thor Skanky. Moving down, Weber Almeida, who I believe this was his debut for Odin Chinchilla, if I'm saying that right. Almeida, believe, trains with Lyoto Machida, and it definitely shows in his fighting style. They both kind of have that same kind of loose karate style. Weber looked pretty good out there. Landed a lot of good shots, very Machida-esque, and that finishing combination was pretty vicious. Then he caught him with like a right, then a left, then a head kick that Odin blocked, but it still like rocked him. And then he caught him with like another left-right combo and just put him out. So I'd be interested to see if they bring Weber back. This was a catch weight, but I'm gonna assume, I guess Weber would technically be a bantamweight. I don't know. This is at 137 pounds. But no, Weber looked pretty decent out there, so shout out to him. Art Rivas got a win over Sean Johnson. This was the only other heavyweight fight on the card. Actually pretty entertaining. I was pretty impressed with Art. He was able to keep a pretty good pace for a heavyweight. Like, Sean Johnson landed a lot of good hands. He was throwing some combinations early. Rivas withstood that storm and just kind of ended up putting the pace on Sean and just broke him eventually. So shout out to Art Rivas. J.J. Wilson got a rear naked submission over Tyler Beneke. Ryan Lilly head kicked the life out of James Barnes. That was a pretty nice KO. I love head kick KO, so go back and watch that. Craig Plaskett defeated Ian Butler via unanimous decision, and Desmond Torres defeated Steve Ramirez via submission arm triangle choke. Apparently this card had 2 preliminary dark bouts, but they don't say who won them, so I don't know. But shout outs to Jorge Juarez, David Paccio, Osman Diaz, and Christopher Reyes. I don't know who won out of y'all, but y'all were there, so shout outs to you guys. And the last fight we will mention, Jesse Roberts versus AJ Agazarm. So we mentioned AJ on this podcast a couple times. I wasn't familiar with him, but I figured, he was like the IBJFF, whatever that abbreviation is, winner in like 2014 or 16 or something like that. Dude had a lot of good BJJ credentials. So, me being me, I just kind of figured, all right, they signed this elite BJJ guy. Maybe he'll be somebody worth keeping an eye on. So they bring him into Bellator, put him on a prelim. What can go wrong? Listen, like I'm trying to figure out how to.
So can we preface this with, why are all the AJ Agazarm is American, right? Isn't that like a Russian dude?
Nah, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's
American. All right, so why are all the freaking American BJJ dudes just like complete douchebags?
Yeah, this was not a good debut at all. And this debut, oh man, it's not like Pico's debut went bad, but we all still looked at Pico like, this dude has a ton of talent. He just needs to
not fight somebody who is a legit 10-fight veteran.
Yeah. He needs to hone his skills, but we see the potential with Pico. We see the hype. We see the talent. We know it's there. He just needs to hone it, so on and so forth. AJ, man, it wasn't like that. This was a bad debut. It doesn't get much worse than this unless he would have gotten knocked out. You could definitely tell from Jump Street that AJ was not comfortable on his feet. And not even in the we've seen fights where maybe a wrestler comes in and they're not really good with their hands and they kind of throw these jerky punches, or maybe they're really winding overhand rights. It just kind of looks kind of sloppy. AJ's wasn't even like that. His just looked like he had never been in a fist fight ever. Not even in school. It was like it was his first time throwing a punch outside of hitting a bag.
It's like he
I
watched a
would even-
YouTube video about like not even about like how to throw punches, but like a video about like a dude hitting a heavy bag. It's like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay.
Yeah, it was you could tell from jump before he even threw a punch, just looking at his stance.
Like he is all the way sideways. Not like bladed, but like sideways. Like his back foot is like across his body. So if he wants to throw a punch, like it looks like he's about to fall over.
his his form looks so uncomfortable. And then when he starts throwing punches, it looks like they don't even hurt. Like he's throwing these jabs and it just looks weird. And good on Jesse for, for being a competent fighter. He was able to eat on the feet because AJ did not want none of that smoke.
If I recall
on the
correctly,
feet.
Jesse's like had a legit like I say legit, like he had an actual amateur career. This was not his first fight.
At least Jesse out of the two looked like he knew what he was. You know what was really weird about this fight was AJ looked terrible on the feet. And then when he got to the ground, you would think like he was in the sport for a long time. Like he looked so comfortable. He was going for chokes. But it was night and day. It was so like and then like AJ couldn't really get a lot of takedowns. After a while, his shots were looking kind of sloppy.
Like he's a former D1 wrestler.
It did not look like it. Because the takedowns that he did get didn't really look all that clean. Like I said, his transitions on the ground when he was going for submissions looked good, but that was it. Like when he was outside of that element, he looked completely lost. And I think the only reason this went to split decision was because he was like, there were times he was able to get Jesse down and fish for submissions, but he wasn't able to land any of them. Because when they were on the feet, Jesse was tagging them, and AJ just kind of looked. There were a couple of debuts on. We see debuts with Bellator pretty much every card. Like a lot of these guys were like 0-0 or like 0-1. I want to say the J.J. Wilson and Tyler Beneke fight. I think one of them was like their first like professional fight. But at least they knew like they looked like they knew what they were doing. AJ just looked so I've never seen a debut like this. And then he had the gall, the audacity to do like the Nate Diaz showboating in a fight where it's like, dude, you look awful. Like you can't do the showboating and you look terrible.
I mean, he can.
And then while he was showboating, I think he got slapped. Like I'm pretty sure in the first couple seconds when he just like stuck his chin out, I think Jesse slapped him like once.
Yeah, I'm watching the
Like,
highlights
open.
right now again, and
yeah, like I don't think they should bring him back. If I'm being completely blunt and honest,
it kind of seems unsafe.
yeah.
I mean, like Bellator can find worse fighters than Jesse to bring in. But at that point, what are you even doing? You know?
Right. At that point, you're literally just grabbing somebody from the crowd. Like you're grabbing the guy in the front row and being like, "Hey,"
and you're putting in this extra effort. And let's be real, like unless Agazarm just finds a way to get the wrestling game working and figures out what's going on with his stance so that he can pressure dudes back into the cage like he's Damian Maya. That is not a blue chip prospect, my friend. Like athletically, skill wise.
So he's an orange chip. some other color.
Like I imagine the plan was to have AJ Agazarm come in, submit a couple guys, and then have him fight Dylan Danis. I say just cash out now. Dylan Danis is 1-0. Agazarm is 0-1. Like And Danis is like he didn't look good in his debut either, but at least he was able to get the fight to the ground and keep it there long enough to get the sub.
Cool. You look way better than that. Lord. Yeah, like I don't like fighter bashing, but there's no other way to say like this was not a good debut.
I'm not trying to shit on the dude when he's down, but like that was not good.
Yeah, that was like there. And then I'm wondering like who lets you go out looking like that? Like there's no way that you were in the gym and you were sparring with hands like that, and people felt comfortable throwing you in a cage.
My only assumption is they thought he'd be able to get to the ground really easy. Like I'm not like maybe he's just training at his jiu-jitsu gym. Maybe he just never. Never like got an actual like boxing coach or anything.
It's gotta be because his hands look bad. Like, yeah, it just did not look good. Like that form was killing me.
Yeah.
Like, and for you guys if you haven't watched it, just go watch it. Just AJ Agazarm versus Jesse Roberts. All the fights you can watch on Bellator's website. Just go watch it, and you'll see why we feel the way we feel talking about this fight. Because on AJ's part, it was not
good. Dude, he is no Gary Tonin.
Not at all. But props to Jesse. When he got on the ground, he was able to live through it. And
persevere for the win.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. But AJ, bro,
if I'm Jesse, I call out Dylan Danis in my post fight. Try and guarantee yourself another payday.
Right. Just fight all of the jiu-jitsu practice. Just let that be like your shtick. Like just be the jiu-jitsu killer. Boy, oh boy, that was a very bad debut. But that was Bellator 214. Really, it was a good card though. It was pretty entertaining. You know what was really bad is like right before the AJ fight, I was tweeting about how like I thought compared to previous years, like Bellator has done a lot better job of rounding out their cards in terms of talent. Like the prelims aren't looking like just random Joe Schmoes anymore. Like it looks like they're at least making an effort to get like legit talent in there. And then the AJ fight happened. I was like, ooh.
I mean, the beauty of Bellator was that like in the top of the card you have your Pat Curds and your Daniel Strausses and your Patricio and Patricky Pitbulls and your Michael Chandlers and Eddie Alvarez's. And at the bottom of the card you have a guy who has to go be on Workout Monday. And
right.
and he's going to fight his ass off for $50 and a picture with what was her name, Bryce something, like that was like his weekend thing. I always got a kick out of that. I know other people didn't like it because they want Bellator prelims to be like the UFC prelims and be like actual prospects. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being the promotion where like, you know, the tough dad who wasn't tough enough to make a full career can go.
They had a charm to them.
Yeah.
And those guys always had stories, you know.
I'm sure they had stories.
Yeah.
Those dudes don't have office jobs.
Right. He was working like a steel mill or like a mine or something.
They're all truckers.
Oh man, but outside of the AJ fight, go watch the AJ fight just to see how bizarre it is. But the rest of this card was actually pretty solid. Like a lot of finishes on the undercard, a lot of good KOs. Like I said, the Weber Almeida KO was pretty impressive. Go watch that if you didn't see it. Ryan Lilly head kicking James Barnes was pretty dope. So the prelims were pretty entertaining, and the main card, I mean, all right, got my heart broke, but you know, like I said, if you rewatch this card on Bellator, and you don't have to go through the commercials, you rewatch it in a little under half an hour. because pretty much everybody got finished minus the Juan Archuleta and Bandejas fight. But it was a pretty good card from top to bottom. So I'm not mad at it. So solid Bellator card. And like I said, as far as all the other fights, boxing card, the main event and co-main event were really awesome. Like I said, the Wujan and what's the other names? Rojas was one of the best fights I've seen in the short year we've been in January. And the one championship card was pretty much awesome from top to bottom. And LFA looked like it was awesome, but I missed it. But lots of good fights going around.
I actually forgot. Oh, I forgot what the next Bellator card was, and it's actually Bellator 215 Mitrione versus Karatanov. Which, whatever, I don't care about that fight. But I see something interesting on the prelims.
Oh no, the next Bellator card is Patricky.
Is it?
Yeah, Patricky and Ryan Scope.
They're just not. They're not numbering that one.
Oh, I see why. Because there ain't a lot else going on.
Is that like one of the ones that they have? Oh no, this is new. I was gonna say, is this like one of the ones they have on like in the middle of like a NASCAR field?
Yeah, they got Aaron Chalmers co-headlining, so that should let you know.
I mean, maybe Edwards on there, and I heard good things about him. Leon Edwards, little.
But what do you see interesting on the?
So on Bellator 215, there is a women's atomweight fight between Invicta veteran Lindsey Van Zandt. Is she Invicta veteran? Yes. Invicta veteran Lindsey Van Zandt and Marissa Messer Belanchia. So I'm curious if atomweight is in the future plans as they look to expand.
I mean, could be interesting. That could be a way for them to snag some talent.
Yep, it's the one division the UFC doesn't have.
Yep. Hope they do. That'd be good on them.
And like, I'd be happy with atomweight having a home.
And I'll give Bellator props. Like, featherweight is kind of a depleted division, and they at least try with featherweight.
Yeah, Amber Ibrock, Amanda Bell is on the next card. That's basically it. Oh wait, no, Leah McCourt and Hattis Oizerut is going to be on Bellator 217. Like they are trying, damn it. That's all that matters.
So with atomweight, I feel like there should be more bodies. I would think. Like they might have a easier time, at least finding some people. I don't know like who's the star, who's going to be the big fish to splash the pond.
I mean, the hard part is all the best ones are like in Korea or in Japan, but I mean, you can still fill out that division if you, I don't know, buy out Invicta's division, but I doubt Viacom's still got any money to buy that out. Then again, they might be able to get on the cheap. Who knows? Whatever.
But yeah, that's upcoming from Bellator. The UFC's next card, I'm really looking forward to. That'll be going down next Saturday, on February the 2nd, Super Bowl weekend. We get to see Rafael Assunção run it back with Marlon Moraes. Also on this card, you got Jose Aldo and Moicano. You got Damian Maia versus Lyman Good. Du Bronx versus David Taymor. We get to see Johnny Walker fight again. Get to see Livia Renato Souza. She's back against Sarah Froda. Lots of good fights. Thiago Alves is on this card.
Max Griffin.
Against Max Griffin.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So, Ricardo Ramos is on this card. This is a pretty solid card from top to bottom.
Ooh, versus Saeed Nurmagomedov. Why did I say Awad? Saeed Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, so this card's gonna be awesome. This looks like this should be a pretty entertaining and violent card, and very interested to see how that main event turns out. Even though y'all already know who I'm pulling for, Marlon Moraes all the way to the top. But
I'm curious as to what the drop off is in viewership because no title fight. TJ Dillashaw actually turns out to be like some type of draw on pay-per-view. Like, I'm sorry, like Marlon Moraes and Rafael Santos is bottom of in terms of popularity, is as bottom as you get in terms of like how low you can go.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not gonna pull in the numbers, but we'll see. But that card's gonna be awesome. So Bellator and UFC keeping the ball rolling. So plenty more fights to talk about in the upcoming.
It never
weeks.
ends.
Never ends. Never ends. We
Hell,
got like a 1 week break after Christmas.
Alider Alvarez versus Sergey Kovalev 2 is going to be next week. Also on ESPN Plus, so that'll be fun.
Hold on, didn't Kovalev get arrested?
Yeah, in not January, in like August or July for apparently sexual assault, but I don't know.
Oh, I thought that was like really recent. Like.
Oh no, like
recent.
the news broke a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay, but the actual incident happened.
Yeah,
okay.
he was actually arrested like back at, like 2 months before his actual first fight.
No.
So that's sketchy as fuck.
Yeah. But either way, plenty of fights to talk about in the near future, so you guys will be hearing from us very frequently.
Vacation's over.
And that's it. Right.
Oh, mine. Yours was
Right.
over last week.
Yeah. We're back at it. Back like we never left. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the fight. So make sure you go back, check out all the fights, all the cards that we mentioned, one championship, Munguia versus Inoue boxing card, and Bellator 214. And I guess that brings us to the end of the show. Not used to us getting out on a timely fashion. So we will end with parting shots and shout outs. Once again, I always forget my shots. I never remember who I'm angry at. But I do have a shout out. Shout outs to Naomi Osaka, who won the Australian Open this past weekend, I believe is when that happened. She's like 21. It's kind of wild. Out here winning the Australian Open.
It was really wild. So I don't watch tennis, but I vaguely remember watching Naomi Osaka like way before she played. She beat Serena. Like I don't remember who she was playing, but like it was like one of those things where she was out ahead and like she was about to make like history as being like the youngest something. Because this was like 2 or 3 years ago. She was like 18 or 19. And then she loses because like she just like was completely gassed because she was a teenager.
It's kind of wild because like before, I don't remember the exact stat, but I think like before the year before she played Serena, she wasn't even ranked in like the top like 20.
Yeah.
She was like number like 56 or something crazy.
Which
like
makes
that.
sense because again, she was like what, 20?
Yeah, that would have made her 20, I think, when she beat Serena, because she's 21 now. But she won the Australian Open. Who did she?
Oh my God, it's Kurt Angle.
I don't want to see Kurt Angle in 2000.
I didn't want to see I haven't seen Kurt Angle since like 2017, and he looked like death. So I can't imagine what he looks like now.
God. But Naomi beat Petra Vitova, if I'm saying that correct. She beat her 7. You know what? I'm gonna mess up these set numbers, so I'm gonna shut up. She won the match. That's all you need to know. And Novak Djokovic beat the crap out of Nadal. I don't know what the score was, but I think he ran him over. For anybody else who cares about that, but that's pretty much all I got for shout outs, because I don't have anybody I'm angry at right now, so I don't have any shots to throw out. So that's all I got for parting shots and shout outs.
Well, first off, shouts to you and Joey for holding it down while I was gone. Not that, like I said, not that was. It was probably easier, to be honest.
I don't know. We ran the same time, so I think it went about. I think it went about the same. Actually, it was harder because the Skype update like randomly hit me before I think we started recording. Like life didn't want us to. We had to go through some hurdles. It almost made me feel bad about recording the episode. Like, is this a sign that I shouldn't be talking about this?
Shots at weight cutting. There we go. Because, Dillashaw. And instead of watching UFC on ESPN +1, and from now on we're literally just saying fighter names because we're getting a little too ridiculous here. So UFC Cejudo versus Dillashaw. You want to know what I did instead? And you follow me on Twitter, so you might have seen like one of my retweets about this. But I watched a YouTuber stream on Twitch him playing Donkey Kong 64 and completing it 100% for charity. YouTuber H Bomber guy for the UK based charity Mermaids. It's a support group for trans kids. He streamed himself on Twitch playing Donkey Kong 64 for almost 60 hours, not straight. He took like 2 naps in the middle, but 60 hours is a lot of time to play Donkey Kong 64.
It's a long,
and that's about as long as it takes to actually beat the game, 100%. I don't know if you ever played Donkey Kong 64, but like it's pretty clear, like halfway through, that the developers were just tired. because like it's the type of game where like you have 5 different characters you can play with, and they all have like their own little things that they can go through in the same world. But at the same time, like let's say there's a wall that your big character has to knock down. There'll be like a thing of bananas, like a collectible right behind the wall, but it won't be for the big gorilla. It'll be for like the small, tiny monkey. So it's like it's that type of game that makes you backtrack to collect everything because you didn't have the right character.
Sucks.
So he beat it 100%, and his goal was to make like $5,000 for charity, and he somehow ended up making $340,000 for charity. Yeah. So there's a story behind the group. The in the IT crowd.
Nope, say that one more time. You kind of faded in out.
Do you know the show IT Crowd or Father Ted?
No.
Okay. Sure. They're British television shows. I don't remember when the IT Crowd came out, but like Father Ted's like 20, 30 years old. Basically one of the writers from the show got the Mermaids had won a grant from the National Lottery in the UK, and one of the writers from the show is a transphobe who basically has a big following because he's like a pundit on TV, and basically got a whole bunch of people to email the lottery and basically get the charity's grant suspended or put under review. So they were not going to get like the $500,000 they were promised, at least not yet. So the streamer, the YouTuber H Bomber guy, decided to make it his personal mission to say fuck Grant Linehan. And he raised $340,000 playing Donkey Kong, and somehow he got the creator of the game to come on. He got Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
So that's what that story was about.
Yeah, okay. She went on.
Yeah, I saw her name. I didn't know that's what she was. Okay. I saw her name.
Yeah, she was on the stream for like 10 minutes. I saw that. It was crazy. The juxtaposition between a U.S. Congresswoman and Donkey Kong 64 is forever etched in my brain. Chelsea Manning was on the stream. It was really weird, man. It got weird. During the down points where he was like sleeping, like there were 3,000 people just like fucking with the text to talk thing. it was just completely bizarre and amazing and
Hey, man,
wonderful.
if you stream Donkey Kong for 60 hours, something weird has to
Yeah,
happen.
and it's nice that something good came from the gaming community, because the loudest voices in gaming tend to be very bad.
Oh yeah, it's low key
Yeah,
trash.
so it is great. Like a bunch of kids are gonna get help that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and you know, beautiful moment to start off 2019. Hopefully,
Shout out to the Twitch streamers who aren't
garbage.
Like, yeah, because y'all are outnumbered. There's a lot of trash running around.
Ninja.
Yeah, they're out here. But I've been lucky. I found some pretty cool people. Who
I
are,
found out there's actually a knitting Twitch scene.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do when I get my camera.
Oh man. Not to give myself any promo, but if you guys follow me on Twitch at Serial Sensei, I started streaming Resident Evil 2.
I just
Actually
started following you today because you posted the thing on the Dojo Talk Facebook.
That game is gonna make me a wreck. Speaking of backtracking and going back and doing, God, that game makes you do that so much. And I don't like the pressure of people watching me on the stream while I try to solve a puzzle and they get to see me be stupid for 30 minutes because I don't know what I'm doing.
Every time he's tweeting, man, I'm gonna just be in the chat. What you doing? What you doing? You went the wrong way. I've never played Resident Evil 2, and I have no idea if that's correct or not, but
I spent 30 minutes trying to find a room that was down the hall from me. Like, all I had to do was press start and look at my map. I kept running right past the room. Oh man, that game is creepy though. That game is.
Wait, is that the one with the dog at the end?
I don't know if they're dogs at the end, but they're dogs in the game. I haven't ran into them yet, but I'm pretty sure they're there. That game legit terrified me as a kid. So I'm playing through this to overcome my childhood trauma.
Speaking of childhood trauma, you know what comes out this week?
The movie?
No, it's Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah, after being delayed 80,000 times.
Well, it's never been delayed. It's never been announced.
Yeah.
Because the man who made the game is an insane man.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you said that. Now I do have a parting shot. Parting shot to I want to say this was GameStop, who oversold their Kingdom Hearts like PS4 Pros or something, and now a lot of people who actually had those reserved have to get refunded because they oversold them. Good job, GameStop.
I mean,
good job.
I guess it's not as simple as ordering more, but take move.
Trash. Yeah, trash.
It's like the airlines overbooking.
Right. And like I've been trolling Kingdom Hearts fans for a while because I never thought this game was gonna come out.
I mean, they never stopped making games. They've made like 5 or 6 mobile games for your.
And then they did Kingdom Hearts 1.4, 1.5 HD or something crazy.
Kingdom Hearts 358/2. Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop. Kingdom Hearts 3D something like. And I just watched a video from the Dragon Ball Z Abridged guys as they tried to explain everything that happened in Kingdom Hearts, because I've only played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Like, I didn't have the Vita to play the other one. I didn't have the whatchamacallit. I didn't get 3DS until way after the game came out. I was like, I'm not going back to it. I'm gonna just play Pokemon for 100 hours like I always do. So, like, I had to get caught up, and it is the most convoluted mess of a game ever, and I love it. There are 12 different Soras in the game. Counting like all his heartless and nobodies and the people who are literally just created to justify his existence. It's amazing.
I'm gonna buy a copy of Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm not even a big fan. I want to buy it to have it as like a relic, just as proof that like this actually came out.
If you believe hard enough, it'll come true.
There you go, kids. We'll leave you with that those parting words. Go believe in something.
Or don't. I'm not your dad.
I tried to believe in fate, or I guess I didn't believe.
Yep, it's your fault.
Maybe there are some things that are outside of belief. You just
you did not believe hard enough. Do not try to shift the blame.
Oh man, but that's all we got for today's podcast. It's been episode number 120. As always, give us a listen on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. If you're on iTunes, make sure you rate and subscribe. You can also listen to us on Spotify and Google Play. Send questions to dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com. Hit us up on the Dojo Talk Podcast Facebook page, as well as the Instagram page. And you can follow me on Twitter @SerialSensei if you choose to do so. But that is all we got for you guys for today. As always, anytime people are being punched and or kicked in the face, we will be there to talk about it. And until next time, we will catch you guys later.